I'm Lane, and you're listening to Right Lane, and I am the Right Lane. So, this is the very first part of what's going to be an extremely long tutorial about building a augmented reality app for the iPhone from scratch using Unity 3D, and then building it, deploying it to the store, and having a complete quality product. Now, I've been working in games for 15 years, totally independent all that time, small studios, and I'm going to show you how we get this done. So, this part's going to cover downloading Unity and setting up Xcode, and let's get started. So, I'm on unity3d.com. I'm going to go up here, top right, get Unity. Oh, and if my computer looks a little different, I'm on macOS Mojave Developer Beta, so some things will look a little bit different if you're on previous versions of macOS. I have this beautiful dark theme, which is good. So I'm going to come up here, I'm going to get Unity. Now I have Plus. The only difference is that Plus has the dark mode, and you can't use it if you make more than $100,000 from your games. So yeah, I accept the terms. I'm going to download the installer. So that was quick. This is just a little tiny installer program. I'm going to open up the download assistant. Yeah, sure. Open. All right. Welcome to the Unity Download Assistant. Continue. License. Oh yeah, continue. I agree. I agree. All right. Now stuff that matters. So obviously we want Unity, and then Visual Studio for Mac. That's a really good idea. The other things you can use, I sometimes use Visual Studio Code, very good, but the IntelliSense for Unity in Visual Studio is much better. So I would highly recommend using the Visual Studio that they bundle. Now we're interested in building for iOS, so I'm not going to include Android build support. I don't need documentation. I'm fine. tvOS. No. Linux. Nope. Mac. No. Vufora. Ooh. No. Now I do have another version of Unity installed, which is for the Magic Leap. It's right here, and we'll go into that in another set of videos. But this is all focused on the iPhone and the augmented reality experience in that, and especially in Unity. Windows build support, not interested. Facebook Game Room build support, not interested. Continue. Visual Studio license, yes, of course I agree. Okay, I'm going to enter my password, and then someone's going to figure out based on the sound of my key clicks what my password is, so that's fine. Okay, now it's going to start downloading. Great. So, next thing, I'm going to walk you through the components that you need. One thing I would definitely recommend is Visual Studio Code. You can just search online. The icon looks like this. It's great. The other thing you're going to need is Xcode. You can find it by going into the Mac App Store. And we're going to ignore that. Just search, and it's Xcode. Here we go. Now, as you can see, I already have it downloaded, but if I didn't, this would just be download. Xcode is totally free. It has 2.8 stars. Yeah, crashes a lot, but it's not so bad. So let's go ahead. While Unity's loading, I'm going to take you on a quick tour through Xcode. We're just going to create a new project. Okay, single view app. Now, if you're creating a new project, and you're not going to have to do this in Unity, but if you decide that you want to do some native development, this is good to know. These tabs up here are the different operating systems. We're interested in iOS, and we'll just do a single view app, UIKit. Next. Test 2. Great. Here we go. So here's the project structure on the left. Right now I'm viewing the project, and one of the things that I've seen happen to a lot of people, let me just kind of move this window around, is so they'll somehow get themselves into this situation, and they'll wonder, how do I deal with my project? And the thing to remember is these controls up here. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen beginners get totally confused and uninstall Xcode and reinstall it. I mean, it happened to me. So anyway, for a Unity project, the most important stuff is all going to happen inside the project. Just get rid of that. There are a bunch of tabs here. The first one's the most important. It deals with the name. So this is the name that humans see, the display name. The bundle identifier, that is what the device sees. Signing, you should be able to automatically manage signing, but we're gonna go through that in much greater detail when we get something that we can actually put on a device. Most of this stuff Unity is going to take care of for you. Deployment target, you usually want to keep this with the most recent version. So since this is normal Xcode, the time I'm recording this is 11.4. It always drives me nuts. If I'm going to do portrait, I want it to support upside down. Like, it should be the standard. Capabilities, we'll go through these quickly. App groups, if you have a bunch of apps or you have a bunch of targets, so you want to do a today widget or a watch, well, no, we don't want to talk about the watch apps. But anytime you're going to have multiple targets, like if you want a iMessage extension, then you need app groups, and it's a way of letting the different components talk to each other. Apple Pay, yeah. Associated domain, that's if you want a website that will deep link into your app. We'll go through that later on. Background modes, that's usually not needed for games. Class kit, no. Data protection, no. Game Center, just say no to Game Center. It's not worth the time or headaches. Health kit, game. Home kit, no, we're game. Hotspot, no, game. iCloud, with Unity, usually you want something that will deal with the iCloud stuff for you. So if that comes in, usually this will be on. If your iCloud is not working in a game, often it's because it's been turned off in capabilities. It happens. In-app purchase, of course, we're going to want that. We want people to spend money. Interop audio, no. Keychain sharing, no. Maps, multipath, no. Push notification definitely is something that we're going to get into in a lot more detail. Siri, game. Wallet and wireless accessory configurations. So these can be important, especially iCloud, in-app purchase, and push notifications. Those are going to be things you want to check on before you submit your build to the store. Resource tags, no resource tag. You don't have to worry about that. Info, this is the info plist. You sometimes do need to do stuff in here. Often localization things will come in here, and you will have to deal with this. So we'll get into that later. Build settings. Sometimes, yeah, you can see there's a lot of build settings, and Unity does a pretty good job with this. Um, one one place where there do tend to be issues is in the valid architectures. If you ever end up having a watch watch build inside a Unity project, then its valid architectures go crazy. And so you have to fix it for all your targets. It's awful. Build phases, um, the the place where there's usually an issue here is in the link binary with libraries. This is my favorite place to deal with frameworks, which are the things that they basically give you access to different platform features or things that other people have written. So sometimes, like, you'll add an ad network, and for whatever reason it won't bring in ad support framework, and it needs it, and you'll see that crashes or it doesn't work, and adding the right framework is the solution. Build rules, you almost never need to come into here. Now, I'm sure my Unity is still downloading. Yeah, because Unity is a huge download. Fortunately, I already have Unity installed. Oh no. I moved it around because I want to have my Unity and this Unity separated. So we're going to go into Finder. We're going to do a new Finder window. And then we're going to go into Applications. And here's what Unity looks like. I'm going to take you through the structure. You'll see this is the Magic Leap version of Unity. They're the standard assets that they package with Unity, and I find these fairly useless. Cross-platform input can be nice, and cameras can be nice, but the rest of it is just nonsense. This one I did bring in the documentation, so let's open that up. Now, if you're new to Unity, or you're doing something new to you, like we're going to be doing some XR stuff, so you can see, input for Oculus. If you're unfamiliar with the Unity UI paradigms, they can be very confusing, and the documentation on them is excellent. I would recommend, if you're not familiar with Unity, that you do take some time and go through these. It can really save you a lot of time. The scripting is excellent. There's some of this stuff that you're just not going to know unless you read the documentations, or you just know. Let's see how it's doing. iOS build support. Okay, that one's really long. So we're going to fire up my version of Unity. Here we go. Now we're going to do a new project. So it's going to come up with this. It's got my account, open, new, project, learn. Obviously, we're most interested with new. And we're going to call this, I don't have a name for this right now, so we're going to call it AR Project. Template, you can choose 2D, 3D, 3D with extras. High definition RP, lightweight RP for VR, Magic Leap. For those of us with Magic Leap, then we get that one. We're going to stick with 3D. Location, that's fine. Organization. I have a bunch. This is my personal organization, and that's what you guys are going to use. This one is my business, and then this is the company I work for. So we're just going to do that. Unity Analytics, always a good idea to enable Unity Analytics. You can add an asset package right here. I wouldn't bother because we can do it all later on. So let's create the project. So it's firing up, importing small assets. Anyone who's worked with Unity for a long time, they know that importing small assets is a step to be feared. If you have a framework in your Unity directory, then sometimes it will never ever finish importing small assets. Cool. We're in Unity. Whoa. Oh no. Where'd I go? Okay. Now, you can see I'm in black, dark mode. And that's because I have a Unity Pro subscription. That's the best reason to have a Unity Pro subscription, so that you can have the dark mode. Because here, I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna switch it. Colors. Let's see. Editor skin. See, I'm on professional. It's because I'm a pro kind of guy. Personal. Okay. Ah! No! Okay, so we're going to switch it back to professional. Whew. Okay, alright. That was horrible. Alright. Now we've got Unity up and running, and if you've never used Unity before, this is going to look really confusing. And I understand, because the first time I used Unity, I was like, what's the line thing? Like, so that's looking at the skybox. I don't know why they set up the scene like this, because there's no reason you would ever want a scene that looks like this. But anyway, right now I'm on the game inspector. It's got a cute little Pac-Man logo. We're going to go to scene. Now, scene is not a whole lot more helpful, but you'll see that there's a camera and there's a light, and it's a directional light, so it does have a direction. These little kind of yellow lines point the direction that the light is going to go. Directional lights are a little funny. We'll get into them in more detail later, but we are just going to do a simple scene. So we're going to do assets, create. There's lots of options here. So we can do a lot of stuff. Material, sprite, physic, legacy, any of those. We can import new asset. We can import packages, and remember when you were setting up the project and it had the place to import packages, well, here you can do the same thing. You can do custom or any of these. Okay, game object. Game object in Unity is basically something that can exist on the scene. And so, because this is the first one, we're going to do a cube. So you get the cube, game object, 3D object, cube, and there it is. Now we go back to the game. Ooh. Okay, now I'm going to move my face over here because move it down here. Scene. Okay, so now we're back in the scene, and over here you can see that right now it has services. Usually you want it to be on inspector. Now, sometimes, oh no, my inspector tab's gone. What do I do? Ooh. Well, the first thing most people do is they restart Unity, and then it doesn't come back. All they really have to do is go up to this little tiny hamburger menu. Click on it, and then Add tab, Inspector. Inspector does everything. So if you happen to lose the inspector, just re-add it from the hamburger menu. So we've got a few tools, and after I demonstrate these tools, then we're going to call it a video. So the hand tool, and you can access the hand tool by hitting Q on the keyboard. So that moves the scene around. Now none of this stuff does anything on the game view, because the game view is showing what the camera is seeing, so what the gamer will actually see. So I'm moving around the scene, great. Now W selects the mover thing. You can see it gives you some handles, so up and down, left and right, this way, that way, great. E gives us rotation, great. Rotating. You can rotate it in all the dimensions. I don't usually use this tool too much because I find it a lot easier to do the rotation using the numbers, because honestly it's too confusing. Okay, next tool is the scale tool. So we can scale one direction, we can scale another direction, we can scale every direction, and this one. So usually the one you end up doing is this, but again I find that modifying these numbers gives me a better result. The next tool is not really going to be all that helpful. It's mostly designed for UI, so we'll get into that later, but basically it gives you these points. And then this one is like a general purpose thing that lets you modify everything all at once if you're so inclined. Now we're going to go back into the game and we'll hit play. And there we go. It's playing. It's not doing anything, but we got a scene set up and working. So until next time, this is Right Lane, and make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for notifications.